Welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm delighted to have Jamie Storey with me today, football content creator. Jamie, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. All good. Friday, can't complain.
Mate, it's been one of those weeks for me as well. So I'm so pleased to be sitting here talking to you about football.
I know,
First of
yeah.
all, should we start with who's your team? Tell us a bit about your team and what's sort of been the history of you supporting that team.
Yeah, so my team is Liverpool, and yeah, I've been supporting them my whole life. I don't think you can change teams once you get assigned one. I think that's a cardinal sin. But yeah, my kind of journey to becoming a Liverpool fan. So I my dad's a big Liverpool supporter. That's where it kind of comes from. Obviously, the accent gives it away that I'm not from Liverpool. I'm from Dublin, Ireland. And yeah, he just started taking me to games when I was a kid. Kind of the early memories of Liverpool where 2000, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard coming through. A lot of good players, I would say. Obviously, we didn't have the same success as some of the other teams around that time, like Manchester United, Arsenal,
Yeah,
Chelsea kind of came through a little bit later on. But I think the my biggest memory or my kind of thing that really switched me on to Liverpool was obviously the Champions League final with Gerrard, and then from that point on, you're just on a merry-go-round of just waiting for the football every single weekend and going over to games and stuff with my dad. So yeah, it's been a good journey, and yeah, now I get to obviously talk about it. Not for a full-time living yet, but hopefully sometime in the future that's coming.
soon, soon,
Yeah.
soon. Mate, it's actually on my bucket list to go to a Champions League game at Anfield. I'm a Spurs
Yeah.
fan.
Oh
But
yeah.
every time I watch Champions League nights at Anfield, genuinely I get goosebumps listening
I know. Yeah.
to "You Never Walk Alone." Like, wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to get tickets now for PSG at home. I'm hoping that we obviously get through in the away fixture first. That it's not not too bad
Yeah,
in terms of the performance, but yeah, I think Champions League nights at Anfield. I've been to a fair few now at this stage, but they're just different gravy. They do have a different feel to them to the Premier League games,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. There's been so many good moments in the Champions League. Obviously, Istanbul. I remember years ago, wasn't there a Gerrard goal against like Olympiacos or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. He hits it on the half volley and just flies in. Andy Gray was the
Iconic,
commentator, wasn't he?
mate. Iconic. I remember that. And your football content journey, what's that been like? So how long have you been doing it for? And also share sort of like your where people can find you as well, so they can find your
Yeah.
pages.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, my name is just Jamie Story on all social media platforms. I did have an original tag as the football story, but then I just decided to change there recently enough just to my actual name, because that's what I kind of just mostly got recognized as. But in terms of the journey itself, it's been a bit of a weird journey because I actually initially started off as a streamer, so it was like streaming Liverpool games, doing watch-alongs, and I think for me, I think say for anyone else trying to get into content, sometimes a lot of people they would look at content nowadays and they would go straight into obviously making content on their phone, but sometimes they might not feel comfortable. It might not actually suit how they come across or the way they like making content. And that was something that happened with me. Like I preferred making content on my computer than I did say on my phone. So over time, I started to do that a little bit more. And then with the streaming setup kind of got a little bit better. Then I started doing like reactions to the content. And then over time, it just evolved into just making football content specifically. And I didn't do the watch alongs anymore. It's something I might get back into in the future, but I just think I can. I think for me as a content creator, I like to think about my ideas a little bit more than say off the cuff. I think there's some people that are really really good at off the cuff, like some of the biggest creators, like I know GoBridge, Expressions, like they're really into it. But I think for me, when I see a bad moment, like Liverpool can see the goal, I just go quiet. I'm just like
Yeah,
internally fuming. So it's not the best watching. You're just sitting there and there's just silence on the screen. Um, and yeah, I think for me, I think I really like the kind of back end of content as well, the business side of it. That's something that really interests me. I think trying to make content that's as high quality as possible, understanding like what works, like what your audience likes, what you like to make. There's a lot of different parts to making content that it is just sitting down and talking about football. and I get to kind of do a bit of both things that I like. So talking about Liverpool, which I love doing, and it's something I've always done, and then talking a little about and understanding the behind the scenes of what actually makes a good YouTube channel. And I'm not at the kind of the level of some of the other creators, but it's something that I'm kind of curating and improving as I go along. And it's something I'm really enjoying, and I think that's the main thing when it comes down to making content. It's just enjoy what you're doing, and then you'll figure out other stuff as you go.
Yeah, mate, love it. And so you're on, was it YouTube, TikTok, Instagram?
Yeah, so my kind of main platform is YouTube. I make all my content specifically for YouTube, and I just cross post on, like, say, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook and Threads. So they're kind of the main platforms that I go on. But if audiences react different. So, like, what you'll notice is with TikTok, the content that you put on there, they don't really like highly curated content. They prefer content that's just like on a phone. So it's just you with a green screen behind you. That's how they consume content a lot of the time. So that would probably be like my platform that I maybe don't put as much notice to. Whereas YouTube is just like my bread and butter. Like, that's what I love making content for. My audience engages on that side as well. So that's where I kind of stick with.
Yeah, wicked, mate. And I wish you all the best for the future. And
Cheers,
see
appreciate
you
it.
on Sky Sports before we know it.
Yeah, I'm on Sky Sports usually every few weeks.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I do. I'm working with Finalysis. So
Yes.
I don't know if you know. Yeah. So basically,
Michael McIntyre's.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm one of the Liverpool starting 11s on that. So I've done like a lot of cool collabs. Like I was in London there recently. I was telling you before we jumped on. I was at the Finalysis event. So that was like kind of the grand opening of that. But we've been putting in some work with that. And I usually go on Sky. I think I've been on it like 20 times this season. So Sky Sports News.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I've done some other cool things. Like I've worked with Champions Travel. They're like my brand ambassador, or my brand partnership. So like, they send me to like matches and stuff. We do some reactions with them, and they sponsor my content. And then done some stuff with like TalkSport, the Premier League, Live Score, Squawka. I think, say, for any kind of aspiring content creators, like, I think a lot of people look at, say, some of the bigger platforms and they feel like I'm never going to get to that level. But I think nowadays you can kind of find your niche in whatever way you want. And I think the way you come across, how you position yourself to brands, there's always an opportunity out there for a brand to get on board. You don't have to be a big, massive creator. Obviously it helps when you have like a bigger audience, but I think the way things are nowadays, there's a space for everyone. And I think that's something I think I've found the more I've made content.
Yeah, I love that, mate. Well done. Smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. Today we're gonna go through. We've got 3 subjects we're gonna go through. So
Cool.
Your Premier League team of the season so far.
Yeah.
Your Premier League player of the year so far. Obviously we've got a few games left, and then your young player of the year so far. So we'll start with the team of the season. What formation are you playing?
Formation I would just stick with a 4-3-3. I think most teams still play that formation, so I think it's probably best to fit everyone in. I would go with 4-3-3.
Yeah, makes sense. So in goal, who have you got?
In goal, I would go David Raya. I think all round the quality of Premier League goalkeepers right now, and probably something you'll see throughout my team, and me saying that the quality isn't the best. I do agree with that sentiment that a lot of other Premier League fans take, but I think David Raya in this season, in my opinion, I would say even in world football, I think Thibaut Courtois maybe is the only one that's slightly ahead of him, but I think he's actually better on the ball, and I think he's been a really important piece that Arsenal have added to their squad to be able to enable them to go on and potentially win a Premier League this season. So I would go David Raya.
Yeah, mate, I think it's a great shout, and I think obviously the League Cup final, the manager made that decision to stick with a goalkeeper that had been in goal the whole time.
Yeah.
Had they not, would they have won it? It's a question, right?
Yeah. I think that I don't know if they would have won it, but like they definitely wouldn't have had that mistake. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly that. Do you think that he starts for Spain in the World Cup?
See, I obviously live in Spain, and
Yes.
there's a lot of politics that go into the Spain's national team. So kind of similar to Germany. I think England, like it's actually in a lot of international football. You see Trent now, not getting into the England squad. Could he? I think if you're a Spanish goalkeeper, I think to be able to play for the Spain national team, you usually have to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. I think he's the better keeper, but I don't know. It's still a little bit up in the air, I would say, but I would have him as the first choice.
Yeah, I would as well. They've got some decent goalkeepers, haven't they, Spain?
Yeah.
What about right back? Who have you got a right back?
Right back is difficult. I think Timber. Do you know what? I think with a lot of players in this team, they kind of have had really good periods, but then they've dropped a little bit. I don't think any single player has had like a consistent level throughout the season. Like you look at Salah last season, who was more or less good up until maybe the last 5 games where Liverpool had wrapped up the league. But I'm probably just going to edge at Reece James over Jury and Timber, just because I think James is more versatile. I think this is probably like the longest stint that he had. I know he's obviously picked up an injury now and he's out for the rest of the season, but like he's had the longest stint in the team. I think he's obviously the Chelsea captain, the quality that he has on the ball. Defensively, like you never really worried about him in 1v1 situations. So I probably would just edge at Reece James. Yeah, that's who I'd go with.
He's top. And they've played him sort of sometimes in that inverted fullback role as well.
Yeah.
I think he's been quality as well this season.
Yeah.
Who's your centre backs?
Yeah, this is a bit of a tricky one, but listen, and my Liverpool bias would go Van Dijk, but I don't think he's been at the levels this year. But no, I think Gabriel and Saliba. I think especially at the start of the season, you talk about how solid that they were. I think as a partnership as well, they just work so well together. They both balance each other out a lot, and yeah, I'd probably just edge it to them. I think having a really good goalkeeper and 2 really good centre backs, they just enable you to go on and do everything that you want to do. I think the big criticism for Arsenal this season is that maybe going forward they don't have the players, but the reason they're so far ahead in the Premier League, or so far ahead, but like they're ahead in the Premier League right now, is because of Gabriel, Saliba and Raya, and I just think them as a three are just the best in the league by far.
Yeah, solid, absolutely solid. Who have you got a left back?
Left back is interesting because I think at right back there's kind of the 2 standout candidates. Left back I don't really think there is. Like I think Kirkez really hasn't hit form. I think Kukurea has kind of dropped off a little bit. I don't think United have anyone, but I am going to go for a little bit of an outside shout. Well, I think a lot of people are starting to recognise how good he is now, but I'm going to go with Lewis Hall. I think he's been pretty good for Newcastle. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe someone came in for him in the summer. And he got maybe another move, but I think Newcastle might not want to sell him. Depends obviously on FFP and stuff, but there's obviously talk of United potentially interested in him. I think Chelsea might go for him if they sell Kukurea. There's a lot of teams that I think would value him as a player, and I think he's starting to evolve into the player that I think Chelsea probably thought he would become, but they just wanted to sell him for the pure profit that they were going to get. So yeah, good Lewis Hall. Yeah,
he's a great player. I wonder if Chelsea have got a buyback on him, because they sold him for pretty decent money as well.
Yeah, it was 30 million I think they sold him for, but yeah, if they have a buyback I would definitely go for him if they can get him for like a cut price.
He's a great player. I think there's going to be a bit of a debate whether he starts for England at left back or whether he goes O'Reilly, or even maybe Livramento. I'm not sure.
Yeah, O'Reilly's actually a good shout as well, to be fair. Obviously, yeah, I think, but he's kind of played a little bit further forward now. He's almost playing as like a winger. Do you know what I mean? To kind of get the most out of him, and that's where we're seeing him attacking so well. But yeah, I think Lewis Hall I would go with.
Yeah, I think it's top shot, mate. In terms of the midfield, have you got like is it a flat 3? Are you doing like a 6? Attacking?
Yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult. I think Declan Rice definitely goes in. I think Bruno Fernandes definitely goes in. I think he's probably in with a shout for the player of the season. And then I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think, similar to what I was saying, there's no kind of player that has been consistently good. I think if you look at Zubimendi, he had a really good, I'd say, start to his career, but he's kind of progressed a little bit forward. He's not been that kind of, like, say, passer that we all thought he was going to be when he came into the team. Someone that, like, controls the tempo of the game. I think he attacks a lot more. I think Rodri's done okay since he's come back in, but I think one player, and he's going to get a big move this summer, is probably Tonali. I think he's playing in a Newcastle team that maybe he's not getting the most out of him right now, but I think he still puts in like kind of really good performances in and out of the team. Tonali, I have Szoboszlai as well that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think. No, I'd probably, you know what? I'd go Rice, Szoboszlai, Bruno Fernandes. That would be my midfield. I think Szoboszlai has just been if you actually like, I obviously watch Liverpool week in, week out. He is literally an 8 or 9 out of 10 every single week, and then he has like the quality to back it up. I probably would say he's the best midfielder in the league this season. It's just that Liverpool have been so bad.
Even like there was games where they were playing him, I think because they were short, they were playing him at like right back.
Yeah.
But then even when he played right back, he was getting like man of the match.
Yeah, literally.
And he was involved in goals. Like
yeah. Similar to like what we're saying about James, he's like so versatile. You can play him right back, so you can play him in DM, you can play him like right wing back, whatever you want to do. Szoboszlai's the exact same, but I think this season he's just added more to his game in terms of quality, like obviously the long range goals, the important goals, and yeah, I worry about where Liverpool would be if they didn't have him in the team performing at the way he is this season. I think we'd probably be bottom half.
Was he like that last year? Obviously, I know you won the league last year, but
yeah.
When I think about it, I didn't think he was that player that could go and do all these different positions. But it seems like this year they've tapped into that a little bit, and it's worked. And he's looking really good, like top elite player. I have seen some Real Madrid rumours, mate.
Yeah, I have heard them as well. But they're never too long sniffing around when someone starts putting in some good performances. But no, I think last season, I think Gravenberch and McAllister were probably better overall. I think McAllister is, for whatever this season, just hasn't hit the same heights. Gravenberch has had some purple patches, but he's struggled. But I would say he was probably our third best midfielder last year behind them two. And I think this season they've struggled a little bit more, but he's just like kicked on. And it's interesting as well because when Florian Wirtz came in, a lot of people said that Szoboszlai was going to be the one that missed out on the team. And it's just been the case of like, he is a mainstay and no one can replace him. Like when he's not in the team, we absolutely struggle. Yeah. And yeah, I think testament to kind of him putting his head down and getting stuck in and showing the quality that he does have.
Maybe that move helped him. Maybe Wirtz coming has helped him sort of kick on even further. Every time I watch Liverpool, if I see Curtis Jones play, I look at him and think there is a quality player in there. He's a real good player. What do Liverpool fans say about him?
About Curtis Jones? Like, Curtis Jones is an interesting one because I feel like he's someone that, similar to what you've said there, he does have the quality, and I think the belief is sometimes there as well, but he's just so inconsistent. And I think being a good player is not just about having the quality. It's about obviously coming and showing it week in, week out. Like sometimes he has the bit between his teeth and he wants to get stuck in and he's making his moves and he's passing the ball well. But then other times he's just like passive and he passes backwards. He's a really big divide in the Liverpool fans about Curtis Jones, whether he should be playing, whether he shouldn't be. I think he should be playing right now ahead of McAllister because he's played really poor. But I wouldn't be surprised if Arne Slot stays in the summer and Curtis Jones is sold because he just doesn't seem to fancy him.
That'd be interesting. I'm sure there'll be a few people who wouldn't fancy taking him. So who have you got on the right wing?
Right wing is so difficult because I don't think there's been a standout right winger in the Premier League this year. I think Saka, like, in my opinion, has been terrible. I don't think he's been anywhere near what is expected of someone of his caliber. I think Cole Palmer is obviously a little bit of injuries at the start of the season, but he struggled to stay fit. He has played well in some games, but like not enough. I'm gonna go Mbeumo. I really like Mbeumo in this team, and I think he's had a really good start when United maybe weren't firing, especially under Amorim. And I just don't feel like anyone else in the team. The other one I would maybe go for is Estevao, who I think has been good at times, but he just hasn't shown it enough, and maybe need another year or two to kind of really settle in. But yeah, I'll go Mbeumo in the team for now. He's
a strong player, isn't he? I think Man United would be in a really different position if they didn't have him, to be honest. I think he's done really, really well.
He's just that sturdy. Yeah, he's just that sturdy. I think Bruno, like, obviously is the mainstay and he's the one that, like, basically dictates everything in that team. But when he was playing a little bit deeper earlier on in the season with Amorim, Mbeumo was being asked to step up and he was providing a lot of big goals to help get them through some games. And I think since he come back from the Africa Cup of Nations, maybe hasn't been as good, but he has still, I think he's still an important piece for that United front three.
And the great thing they've got with him, and probably similar with Cunha, is he can go out wide, but he can do the job down the middle as well.
Yeah.
It's not like he's one of these wingers that can only play out on the wing and only does one thing, because he's very strong as well.
Yeah.
Mate, great choice. Who have you got on left wing?
Left wing. Do you know what? Like, how difficult it is to choose players in this team, because I really don't think that there's like loads of standout players. I was trying to have a think about it earlier on about like who would I have in my Premier League team this season at left wing, and like kind of names that come to mind are like Anthony Gordon, Martinelli. But then I'm like, are any of them like at the level that they should be? Do you know what I mean?
I think Martinelli, I know this, he scored 1 goal this year in the Premier League.
I think
Gordon
hadn't
was on like 5 or 6, I think.
But I think he hadn't scored in the Premier League up until like a few months ago, and then he scored a few in the Champions League. It's difficult.
What about Semenyo?
Semenyo, yeah, to be fair, he has been good. Yeah, I'd probably edge it to Semenyo, to be fair. I think you'd have to have him in the team. Obviously, he got his big move to Bournemouth, or to Man City from Bournemouth. But yeah, I'd probably edge it to Semenyo. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, there's no real players that you can consistently say are competing at top. Like, imagine Semenyo in a team 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah. No, it's completely different now. What are you guys saying about Gakpo? Obviously, he's not someone that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Do you know what? Gakpo, similar to Jones, he's someone that divides a lot of opinion among Liverpool fans. And I think this season, he's kind of turned a little bit to more like a lot of people hating on him. I think last season he got 25 goal contributions last season, and he was a very important part of that Liverpool team. I think a lot of Liverpool fans maybe undervalued his contributions. Now I think he had Diaz, who pushed him on last season, who was basically like, if you don't perform, I'm going to take your position, and I think that helped him. This season he obviously, it's just him playing on the left wing. Rio and Gamoa has come in. He's looked good at times, but like Gakpo still knows that eventually they will go back to playing him in the team. But I think the quality is there. It's just he's become a little bit one-dimensional, I would say. And a lot of Liverpool fans, the fact of how we perform, the frustrations going forward, not scoring enough opportunities, you inevitably look to players that like aren't producing. And I think Gakpo hasn't produced enough this season. Salah obviously has a lot of credit in the bank for what he's done, especially last year. But Gakpo has kind of become a target man for Liverpool fans in terms of hate. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he left in the summer as well to, say, an Atletico Madrid or a Bayern Munich.
Wow. I think there's a player in there. Obviously, you've got Rio coming through, and he is a talent. Yeah. Is it too early for him is a question. Salah's leaving. That means, what do Liverpool do? Do they go and get a couple of new wingers?
Yeah, I think Liverpool, if you go through Liverpool's team, I think Liverpool are going to have an absolutely massive window this year. I don't know if they'll spend another 450 million, but if you think about, Salah's going to be gone. If they sell Gakpo, they'll need to bring in someone to replace him. I think Isak and Ekitike are obviously going to be the kind of two players that they look to, but I still think you probably need another forward, even like across the front line. So if you have Rio, another winger, maybe another left winger, or someone that can play right and left wing. I think Robertson is probably going to move on. Kanate hasn't signed a contract. There's talk of McAllister potentially leaving. Jones, as I said earlier. Alisson is coming into the last year of his contract. So there's a lot of players that are changing. And then you obviously have the hierarchy, which is, will Arnie Slot be in a job? Will Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards stay? Because there's talk of them potentially going to Saudi. So there's a lot of change, even for as much as happened last season. I think a lot of change is going to happen this summer as well.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of change coming at Liverpool. Who's your striker?
Striker's Haaland. It has to be Haaland. I wouldn't have anyone else. I think he definitely hasn't performed since the turn of the year. No, I think he went on like a six game goal drought, which is like crazy to say. But yeah, just for all round, I still think he's the best striker in the world. I think everything that he gives you, even though he hasn't performed, as I said, the last few games.
He's set those levels for himself now that we all expect him to be.
Exactly.
Like his numbers are actually crazy.
But he's still probably going to get like 30 odd goals this season, or 35 goal contributions. Do you know what I mean?
So in the Premier League this year, it's in 29 games, he's got 22 goals and 7 assists.
That's what I mean. Do you know what I mean? And we expect it should be like 50 every single year. But I think, especially my generation of football fans, our minds have been warped by like Ronaldo and Messi putting up like just ridiculous numbers. And we're like, someone hits 50 goals and we're like, yeah, like that's good, but it's not as good as them. Do you know what I mean? And then when they hit that number, it's like, well, they should be doing that every year. But I'm like, maybe sometimes that's just the anomaly. Do you know what I mean? And if they drop to 40, that's still good.
But there's always this debate, right? So when Ronaldo was getting that amount of goals, he was in La Liga, right? Messi played in La Liga. With all due respect to like the teams within Spain, I don't think that they're as strong. Like their bottom teams probably aren't as strong as the bottom teams in the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
Completely different type of football as well. But I wonder how Messi would have done in the Premier League.
Yeah. I think physicality wise, they wouldn't be a match. But I think there's a lot more to football. Even like I was at Real Sociedad against Barcelona a few months back up in the Real Arena, and Real Sociedad won that game, but they had been struggling. They were like 15 going into the game. They got a new manager and stuff, and they play such good football. Like the way they think about football is very different to the way English fans or the way people view the Premier League, where it's like physicality. And I think you kind of see that when it comes to especially international football. Like they're able to impose how they play because they have the best players playing that style of football, and it shows. You know what I mean? So I think definitely maybe the goals wouldn't be as high, but I think we've seen more well-rounded players because of how they've played in Spain for such a long time.
Yeah, you just made me think of something. So I think it was yesterday I see some clips. It's on La Liga on their Instagram page, and there's there must be some sort of tournament with like some of the young teams at the moment.
Yeah.
So they've got all the youth teams playing each other. Wow.
Yeah.
Some of these players, like you've got this little kiddie at Barcelona that's like turning left and right. They're so good, aren't they?
Yeah,
Even,
ridiculous.
I think Sociedad was one of the youth teams, and Villarreal as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got so much skill.
Yeah, they all have like philosophies. Like they're like, we obviously talk about Spanish philosophy and what that actually means, but like within each club as well, they would have their own philosophies of what they should do, how they should play, like how many forwards they should play with, midfielders, what the midfielders should do, what roles they have. Do you know what I mean? I think in England and in the Premier League, and I think it is changing, because I think they're starting to realise you can't just rely on like physicality to win a game. Yeah, because inevitably you're going to need like say 11 players. If you're going to have 11 players just being physical for 90 minutes, it's almost impossible. You know what I mean? Sometimes you run out of steam, and then that's when the quality starts to show. But yeah, I think the footballing brain within like Spain is it's ridiculous, and I think it shows in how the players that they produce.
Going to be interesting in the World Cup. I think Spain have got a really good chance.
Don't talk to me about the World Cup. I was watching Ireland yesterday, and we got knocked out.
Troy Parrott with the penalty.
Yeah, I thought we had it. We were 2-0 up, and then we gave it a stupid penalty. But it is what it is, I suppose. We have the Euros coming up. We're on home soil, so we'll have a few games in Ireland, which will be all right.
Yeah, I was gutted for the Irish. There was an interview after the game with Troy Parrott. I don't know if you've seen it. But
yeah, brilliant.
It was really good. And I tell you what, Irish fans, you need to give yourself a pat on the back, because the support that they gave was so good.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like, obviously love supporting Liverpool and like going to Liverpool games, but it's almost like when you're a team like Ireland and I think when you know you're bad, it makes you like galvanize more. You're kind of like, you're not hoping for anything, but like, it's just like the chance is there, and that just like brings people together. Do you know what I mean? Even though like the likelihood is you won't get through. But yeah, I think the last few months as an Irish fan have like really helped, I think, bring back the spirit of like Irish football, because it was lost for a while. But the win against Portugal, the win against Hungary in that way and in that fashion, going into the game against Czechia, it was really, really good to see. And hopefully then we can kick on, because I think the core little group of players that we have there are decent, but it's just like we need one or two things, I would say. But it's difficult to do, obviously, when you can't just get them out of buy them and bring them into the team.
Yeah, I think there are quite a lot of Irish players that are like coming through the ranks though, and some of them are even in like youth teams overseas.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting. I think there's quite a lot of talent coming out of there. I'm pretty sure there's one kiddie, I don't know if he was in the first team or if he was under 21s, but he's like Benfica in the Benfica youth team. Which is pretty cool. Yeah,
I think as well, like you're seeing a lot of teams, like, or a lot of Irish players, they rather go to maybe some of the European teams, similar to like say Jude and Job. They went to Dortmund once they kind of learned their trade a little bit, just to evolve a little bit. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing a lot more now because it's so difficult to get into the Premier League teams because of all the players that they have on the big wages.
You just made me think of someone. There's a guy called Michael Noonan,
Michael Noonan, yeah.
17 years old,
Yeah.
playing for the under-21s. Scored last year. It was 6 goals for Shamrock. This year it looks like, I don't know if there was injuries, but he hasn't played as much.
Yeah.
He's one that's going to move somewhere surely.
Yeah. You just never know. Do you know what I mean? And you just have to hope that they can get those opportunities. Like you look at Troy Parrott, obviously started off with Spurs, couldn't break into the first team, went on loan to a few places. Now he's at Alkmaar doing really well. And there's talk of potential 20 or 30 million bid coming in for him to come back to the Premier League. Everton are interested in him. So yeah, I think their journeys are a little bit different than maybe what they were, say, 20 years ago, where you had like Roy Keane, Steve Staunton, like who else you had? Robbie Keane. Like there were so many players, Shay Given, that like were playing in the Premier League at top teams, playing at the top of Premier League football, that you could rely on them when they came to Ireland. But it's just slightly different now. And listen, that's just part of the way countries go, I suppose.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Should we go on to the next question? So the next question was your Premier League Player of the Year so far.
Premier League Player of the Year so far is, I was saying Soboslai earlier, just on Sky to
You're changing it.
Yeah, to rattle him. No, I think I would probably edge it to Bruno Fernandes, just because I think he's probably going to break the assist record. I think even though he was playing in a United team that was struggling, he was still putting up like decent numbers in terms of his goal contributions. And I think now that he's playing in a team that is like working for him and working toward him, I think he's probably been the best player of the season. Other nominations, you could probably go Declan Rice, Erling Haaland was good as well. But I just think all round, I'd probably edge it to Bruno.
Do you know how many assists he's got this year?
He's on 16 now, is he?
16.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks it. He needs five assists to break it in 8 games, which is doable.
To break, what's the record then?
20. Yeah, so De Bruyne has it and Ozil.
Really? Ozil got 20?
No, was it Ozil? No, it was Henry, I think, and De Bruyne. Yeah, It wasn't Ozil. I think Ozil was on like 18 with like 5 games to go and he didn't break it.
Wow, De Bruyne got 20. Okay, nice. Good choice. And what about your Young Player of the Year so far?
Young Player of the Year, is this like as in under 23?
Yeah, let's go under 23.
Yeah. I'd probably go Nico O'Reilly. I know we were talking about him a little bit earlier on. And I think for what he's done in terms of coming into the team, and you go back to when he first came into the team like last season, like Man City have made a lot of purchases over like the last kind of 12 to 18 months. But if you were to go through over the last 12 to 18 months who were one of their best players, you'd probably go Haaland for the kind of run that he was on. But I think Nico O'Reilly has probably had the biggest impact on their team. And I would probably think that, the impact that he had obviously in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup final as well is just a testament to how good he has been. So I'd go Nico O'Reilly.
Yeah, that's a great shout. I really wouldn't be surprised if he wins it this year.
Yeah, I think he will.
The thing is, I was having this conversation with someone previously, like, he's been great, but he's also got goal contributions as well.
Yeah.
And I think
it's weird
really
the formation
helps.
that they play to obviously facilitate him. I seen Pep talking there after the game against Arsenal. He's like, they kind of isolated him on Zubamendi because of his physicality, which is like, he's meant to be like a left back and he's like playing almost in central midfield. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I think he's so versatile in what he does, and then he's obviously getting forward and they're allowing him to get forward because they're covering for him. So it's just like they're playing to his strengths, and he's obviously fulfilling his role, and he's just playing really well. So I think the impact he's had at Man City, and having an impact at Man City is very difficult with the quality of players that they have. So I think he deserves to win Young Player of the Year if he does get it.
Yeah, it's quite difficult if you actually sit and think about it. There's not loads of choices of like young players. Obviously, Dalman's broke through, but he's not played a lot. Broke through, but he's not played loads. There's not loads. Krupi, I think, has done quite well at Bournemouth.
Yeah, true.
Good shout. Right, let's go on to some quick fire. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Best stadium you visited?
Pro Park in Ireland.
Nice. Prime Suarez or Prime Torres?
Prime Suarez. Unbelievable.
Animal, wasn't he?
Joke.
Your childhood hero?
Steven Gerrard.
Fair. Favourite current pro?
Favorite current pro? Virgil van Dijk.
Top. The best striker in the world?
Erling Haaland, as I said earlier. Yeah, he's still the best.
Best goalkeeper in the world?
I would go Courtois. It's just right now, but I know he's obviously a little bit injured right now. But yeah, I think Raya's. I think I need to see Raya win some stuff before I put him at the top.
Yeah, fair. Worst signing your club has ever made?
The first one that comes to mind is Alberto Aquilani. We saw a ball for 20 million and he played about 4 games. The other one is Andy Carroll, but I'll edge at Aquilani because he's the first one I thought of.
Oh, I always thought Aquilani was gonna be good. Where'd you guys came from? Was it Rome or
like
Fiorentina?
Fiorentina, I think it was Fiorentina, or maybe Lazio. But yeah, we bought him for 20 million to replace Xabi Alonso. He spent, I'd say, every waking minute of his time at Liverpool on the injury bed, and then we sold him then for like peanuts.
Fair shout. It's fair shout. We'll move on to the last section, which is football blackjack.
Cool.
So, this is a game that we've developed. We've done it offline for a couple of years, just between friends, and we're building an app for it now. So then,
cool.
More people can use it. The premise of the game is you've got to pick 4 players. All 4 of those players, you're collectively looking for 21 goals. So like blackjack,
yeah,
over 21, you're bust. All of them need to score at least 1 goal to be active. So you can't really pick like goalkeepers.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you a season.
So they have to be the goals that they scored in that season?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to go for last season. So it's kind of fresh. Once you tell me a name, I'll tell you the score. So then you can sort of go from there and see how you get on.
Okay.
So, you ready?
Yeah. Okay, so 21. I'm going to go with Gabriel.
Gabriel. So was last year the year where he started getting goals from centre half? Let's have a look.
He's taking it up a notch this season.
Yeah, he's just so good, isn't he? So last year he got 3 goals in the Premier League.
3.
3.
Okay, might go for a midfielder.
He's got 3 this year as well. I thought it was more.
Oh yeah, maybe in the Champions League as well. All right, 3, so 18. I'm gonna go Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon. I think he did have a decent year last year in terms of goals. Let's have a look. Hasn't done the best this year in the Premier League.
No, he's been struggling this year.
Champions League. 6.
6.
So you're
9.
So you're 9.
6 Premier League goals last year. Jesus, just talking like a 90 million price tag on his head.
And he's got 6 this year in the Premier League.
Hasn't he?
Yeah.
He took a while to score.
He had a bit of a flurry, but 6. So you're on 9.
So on 9, so I need another 9. Oh no, I need another 12. All right. Let me think. Goals. I'm gonna go. Trying to midfielders. I don't want to go for a strike. I need strikers. Premier League goals. Trying to think who was good last year. It was obviously Salah, Haaland, Isaac, Watkins. They were high. They were like 20. I'm going to go. I don't think Bruno Fernandes got over 12 goals last year. I'm going to go Bruno.
8.
8. So 4.
4.
Virgil van Dijk.
Big Verge. Ooh. Big Verge. It's not there. 3.
No! Oh, that's so annoying.
But that is a great shout, by the way.
Oh.
Getting to 20 is pretty hard.
Is it?
Yeah, because like everyone has a different strategy. Obviously, like we're doing it in retrospective, we're doing it on previous years. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
start the season, like this year, I was trying to go for people that are around 5, and I was like, right. So I went Iwobi, Reinders. I think I went Fabio Carvalho because they'd sold some players, and I thought maybe he's going to get some game time this year. He got 1 goal and then done his ACL. And then who else did I do? Oh, I done Ruta at Brighton, and he's just not scoring.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's not been good for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not easy, right? And everyone has
Yeah,
a different
no.
strategy.
I think Van Dijk was almost certainly got 4 goals. I was trying to think about the goals that he actually scored. But like this year, I think he's on like 5. Like he scored. He's becoming pretty impressive.
What's he on
That's
now? He's on 3 goals in the Premier League this year.
Oh, this year? Maybe I'm thinking all competitions.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, it's still pretty decent return for a defender, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank
happy
you.
with that. Happy with that.
Well done.
Cheers.
Really, really well done. Thanks, Jamie. That's us.
Yeah,
appreciate
nice
you coming on to the pod. Some great shouts for your team of the season. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if most of what you picked is going to be the team of the season, but we've got a few games left, so you never know.
Never know. You never know. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for coming on, everyone. Check out Jamie on all of the social media sites, and speak soon. Thank you, mate.